Welcome to Mindzilla, the only podcast where your brain might actually get bigger or just melt entirely.
We're not liable for cranial leakage, by the way.
Speak for yourself. I'm Jess, Chaos Merchant and Tinfoil Hat Ambassador.
And I'm Luke, your skeptical co-pilot just trying to survive another week of Jess's conspiracy corner without blowing a neuron.
Every week on Mindzilla, we dive into juicy debates like Am I the Asshole? Spoiler alert, probably.
Then we hit you with the Hope Protocol, our antidote to doom scrolling. Some wholesome, brain-hugging news to make humanity seem less trash.
And finally, my true calling, Conspiracy Corner, where I lovingly melt Luke's brain with cults, cover-ups, and questions no one asked.
So many questions no one asked.
And if that's not enough madness for you, we've got a shiny, sinister little Patreon you're gonna wanna join.
For just £3 a month, slap on your tinfoil hat and get access to our weekly Mythbusters-style deep dives debunking everything from brainwashing to Bigfoot.
And if you're ready to fully vibe with us, grab your Geiger counter tier for £6 a month. That gets you another extra, more personal episode every Wednesday, where we overshare wildly and let you in our intimate little mental circus.
We're talking weird dreams, life stuff, and Jess's unfiltered theories that didn't make it to pass Spotify's legal team.
It was one lizard queen joke too far.
Follow us on social media, subscribe to the pod, and listen free every week on Spotify or YouTube, audio only, because
Our faces are classified.
too hot for the algorithm.
This is Mindzilla. Feed your brain, question everything, and remember,
They don't want you to listen to this. Going to kick this Am I the Asshole straight off. Am I the asshole for not immediately telling their friend their husband's on the sex offender registry?
oh my days.
Well, you might have a quick answer after the title. You've got to hear me out. I, male 18, have a friend, female 19. She's asked me to put this story out to try and figure out what to do and if anything should be done. So my friend, we'll say Jess,
Oh, great.
is a bridesmaid for our friend, female 22, Elena's wedding. Jess works with their mum, and the mum skims over documents and news in her downtime during their shifts. Just recently, Jess' mum came to Jess with bad news. Jess' mum was skimming the sex offender registry, no idea why, and found Elena's fiancé, Kyle, male 23, on it. Jess was immediately shocked and called me for help. Jess told me about how Kyle was on the registry, and even worse, it was for possess, manufacture, and distribute child pornography. We immediately began crossing our fingers for any reason this could be a mistake. Maybe it happened years ago. Nope, only a couple of months back. Maybe it was a miscommunication between Kyle and Elena. Nope, apparently can't end up on the registry if it's an issue with the person you're going to marry. Different Kyle? Nope. Picture is identical to him. So now we're left with the question we can't answer. What actually happened? How severe was it? Does Elena already know? If she doesn't, do we tell her? My friend Jess is mortified because she doesn't want to break up a marriage, but Elena clearly has a right to know. But we also wonder if she already knows they brought up a house together, so how would that not come up? Neither of us are close enough to Elena to feel comfortable just mention it on a whim. So we're at a standstill, obviously. We don't want to let this go completely, but we also don't want to F up their entire marriage or enter an awkward spot if Elena knows and doesn't want to talk about it. Are we assholes if we keep our mouths shut? Or would we be assholes for potentially effing up their soon-to-be marriage?
They need to tell her.
First update. Thank you all for your input and different ideas. I definitely agree she needs to be told.
Exactly.
It was just something me and Jess were very anxious to do. We are planning on telling her ASAP, meaning today or within the week. We want to tell her in person in order to avoid any confusion or tone issues with the conversation. Me and Jess fully agree that she needs to be told regardless. I hope to update with good news. Again, thanks for the support.
Oh my god. Come on, rip up the band-aid.
Final update. Elena wasn't able to meet in person, so we figured FaceTime was the best way to talk to her and fully explain everything. Right after we mentioned the charge, she knew what we were talking about and fully explained the situation to us. While I'm not going to rehash everything that was said, since it's not my place, I can say Elena is now definitely aware and also has a plan on what to do next, aka the situation is being resolved currently. Again, thanks for the reassuring replies and the help. I'm happy to know she isn't in the dark and is working to fix it.
That is
Sick.
wow. Producing and distributing child porn.
Yeah.
And they were already together when this happened. Why is she marrying him?
Imagine they're trying to start a family together.
Oh.
But
He can't go to schools, he can't go...
he can't go to schools, parks, anywhere that children are. He can't go.
Why would you want to create a family? Well, it depends on the circumstances. Sometimes it's like different, but still. Oh my goodness. The way they talked about it after they updated her as well, it's like, oh, it's just,
I'm working on it.
yeah,
Fixing it.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't really think there's anything to fix. Like,
No.
you kind of have to be with someone that doesn't want kids in this situation, because the fact he's making it and publishing it is
He's only 23, so he can't be like that he was...
young.
No, he was like doing something with someone like just a teenager, but still not an adult. But if they was already together, that is wrong anyway. So I don't know what.
Surely she would know, though, because if he's distributing, producing, and all that kind of stuff, surely there's a like prison time involved with this.
Not always, unfortunately.
Fair play to her friends for telling her, but I think the friend is a bit deluded.
Yeah. Well, we don't know the circle. We don't know anything really.
I'll just by going off of what it says on the internet.
Yeah. They left all the juice out.
Yeah, but what they've said there is that, yeah, he's a disgusting human being and deserves to be alone. All right, let's carry on.
Today's brain game is for everyone whose brain feels like it's held together by post-its and forgotten passwords. Say hello to the spacing effect, your brain's way of saying stop cramming and chill.
So it's like memory, but with breaks.
Exactly. Instead of stuffing info in your brain like it's a burrito, you give it time to marinate. Review info gradually, and your brain builds stronger, longer lasting memories. It's science, like actual neuroscience, not your cousin's crystal blog science. Try this mini exercise with us. Let's say you want to remember these 3 random but very real facts from history. Number 1. There was a secret project where the US military tried to use cats as spies. Number 2. A guy once ran for president under the name Nobody and got actual votes. Number 3. The moon smells like burned gunpowder, according to astronauts.
Honestly, I'd vote for nobody at this point.
Same. Now, instead of repeating these facts 20 times, like you're cramming for trivia night, do this. Say them once now. Review them in 10 minutes. Just try to recall them. Repeat tonight before bed, and then again tomorrow.
So I'm not studying, I'm just revisiting vibes?
Yes, spaced out brain vibes. And this works for names, dates, jokes, punchlines, you name it. It's how memory champs train. And you don't even need a cape. Let's give a challenge to the listeners. Pick 3 things you learn from any part of today's episode. Set a reminder to revisit them later tonight and tomorrow. Then flex your weird fact muscle in a convo and blow someone's mind.
Or at least confuse them enough to walk away impressed.
Which is honestly 90% of my social strategy. Okay, beautiful brains, welcome to the Hope Hotline, your weekly reminder that the world isn't completely on fire, and in fact, some people are actually fixing stuff.
We know it's easy to feel like the planet's one missed email away from a full system crash. But every week, somewhere in a lab or a tiny hospital or a makeshift observatory, some humans somewhere is pulling off a quiet miracle. So we collect those miracles and beam them directly into your frontal lobe.
Let's start with a kind of medical breakthrough that reads like science fiction. This week, surgeons at UCLA pulled off something that's never been done before. The world's first full bladder transplant.
Let's say that again. They didn't patch it or build a synthetic one. They transplanted a whole bladder into a living patient. The recipient? A 41-year-old woman who has survived cancer but have been living with severe bladder dysfunction for years.
The surgery took over 10 hours, involved an entire team of specialists, and included reconnecting blood vessels, ureters, and even pelvic nerves to restore full urinary function. This could change the future for people suffering from bladder cancer, spinal cord injuries, or severe birth defects.
So yes, people can now get a new bladder. That's real. Welcome to the future.
From organs to genes, let's talk about the tiny human with a giant wing. Doctors at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia just used CRISPR, yes, the gene editing tool, to correct a rare, fatal genetic disorder in a 9-month-old baby.
The disease was causing severe seizures and neurodegeneration. Instead of treating the symptoms, they used CRISPR to snip out the bad code and replace it with healthy instructions.
And it worked. The seizures stopped, the deterioration altered, and it's one of the first true cases of personalized gene therapy in a living human. Not a mouse, not a petri dish. It's the beginning of bespoke medicine where treatment is tailored to your exact DNA.
Imagine curing a disease not with pills, but with genetic update, like patching your biological software.
I could definitely use some of that. Now let's shift to another big one, prostate cancer, which affects 1 in 8 men. Until recently, treatment often meant invasive procedures or heavy-duty hormone injections with rough side effects.
Now, researchers have developed pill-based hormone blockers and paired them with advanced imaging techniques to precisely target tumors without destroying the rest of your body in the process.
Think of it like cancer GPS with a gentle delivery system, and early trials show patients keeping a better quality of life with fewer side effects. It's not a cure, but it's a big leap in making treatment less awful.
Now, let's talk about global brain power. This week, Imperial College London launched a massive international research hub in Bengaluru, India. Why is that a big deal?
India is becoming a major player in science, engineering, AI, and health innovation. And this new center means more cross-continental collaboration, more labs, more access, more breakthroughs. And guess what? Young Indian scientists will now have elite opportunities without needing to leave the country.
It's a brain gain and a brain return.
Speaking of global impact, the CSIR Startup Conclave in Mumbai this week brought together over 50 science-based startups.
These aren't your average We made an app to tell you how hydrated you are. Startups. We're talking bioplastics, AI for diagnostics, sustainable food tech, and med tech built to serve underfunded hospitals.
It's innovation with ethics, and they're not pitching to get rich. They're pitching to fix real problems.
Back to space now, because we have another lunar first. This week, Firefly Aerospace became the first private company to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon.
It was their Blue Ghost Mission 1, and it delivered a payload for NASA. This proves that private companies can reach the moon safely, which means the future of exploration, science, and maybe even lunar tourism just got a major upgrade. And finally, let's wrap up with the holy grail of energy with nuclear fusion. Scientists this week achieved a control fusion reaction that lasted over 30 minutes.
Translation: they made a miniature sun inside a lab and kept it stable. No explosions, no meltdowns, just pure, clean energy. We're not powering cities yet, but we are closer than ever.
If fusion becomes viable, it could provide limitless energy with zero emissions, ending our dependence on fossil fuels forever.
That's right. Solar panels are cute, but fusion is hardcore sustainability.
So if you're feeling down about humanity, remember, this week someone grew a bladder, edited a baby's DNA, landed on the moon, and bent plasma to their will. And they did it all for us.
Hope isn't just a feeling, it's a freaking project. And people all over the world are showing up to build it.
All right, time to switch gears from wholesome to wholly unhinged. Today, we're diving face first into a steaming buffet of bizarre, bonkers, and mostly harmless cults. A little palate cleanser after all the darkness we've been digging through lately. Because let's be honest, cults, they're not funny. But cults that worships spaghetti, iPods, and chaos incarnate, absolutely hilarious.
So, this is the part of the episode where Jess tries to recruit me into some obscure internet religion. And I try to keep my chakras in check.
Yes, yes, it is. And by the end of this episode, you look will be forced. Yes, forced to pick a cult to join. No take backs. You're in it for life. White robes, weird chants, and probably a new name like Brother Lightbeam. Yeah, are you ready?
Why do I feel like I'm about to accidentally pledge myself to a church that believes Steve Jobs was the second coming?
Because you are. And listeners, don't think you're getting out of this. We want to hear which cult you'd like to join to. Hit us up on socials, drop your pick in the comments. Don't worry, we don't send recruiters, probably.
Okay, but seriously, just to cover our legal, non-cult affiliated asses, cults are dangerous. Most are not funny. This episode is about the rare, mostly satirical or hilariously absurd ones that never got big enough to ruin lives, just reputations and probably a few Thanksgivings.
Perfectly said. Think of this as a twisted game show called Pick Your Poison, Spiritual Edition. I did deep dives and covered the sacred memes, the alien manifestos, the cosmic spaghetti, all so you don't have to.
Great. So I just sit here, listen to you list increasingly unhinged belief systems, and then I pick one and get branded with a laser? Awesome. Totally normal Sunday.
That's the spirit, Brother Lightbeam. Let's begin. All right, before you start sweating, Luke, we're organizing this madness into three sacred categories, like a holy trinity of weird. Category 1, the comedic and satirical. Category 2, the weird little micro cults that somehow exist. And category 3, cult or performance art, even they don't know. We're starting with the most sacred of all. The one, the only, the cult that basically parodies all other cults, the Church of Subgenius, aka Slack or Die Trying. Imagine you gave a group of pranksters too much weed, a Xerox machine, and access to a public access TV studio in Yankees. And boom, you've got the Church of the Sub-Genius. Founded in the 1950s or the 1970s, depending on which lie you believe, by Ivan Stang and Philo Drummond. This religion reveres the prophet J.R. Bob Dobbs, a pipe-smoking salesman who offers salvation through one thing only: slack.
Slack, like being lazy.
No, capital S, slack. It's your divine right to do absolutely nothing society expects of you and still be rewarded with a UFO ride out of here before the world explodes. And if you're wondering when that happens, it's July 5th, 1998, which, yes, has already happened. And yes, the world didn't end. But that's fine because that's just what they want you to think.
So they missed the apocalypse and just kept going.
Of course, it's peak slack energy. They claim the world is controlled by a cabal of normals and conspiracy forces, and the only way to fight back is through absurdity, mockery, and righteous weirdness. You can actually become ordained online right now for like $30.
What do members actually do? Just meme their way to enlightenment?
Kind of. They hold revivals instead of revivals. Think rants, sermons, performance art, punk shows, and people screaming about slack into their bullhorn. If you're not confusing the audience, you're not preaching right. They published weird, cultish manuals like the Book of the Subgenius, which reads like it was written by a half-mad Discordian preacher on mescaline. Here's a quote. Slack is not bought. Slack is not sold. Slack is stolen.
Okay, that slaps. I'd buy that on a t-shirt.
You can! They literally sell bob heads, t-shirts, stickers, toilet paper, you name it. This cult was monetizing chaos before it was cool. Capitalist satire through capitalism. It's like if Banksy ran a mega church but with more butt jokes.
So they're joking, but they're not joking.
Exactly, that's the genius. It's not a parody of religion, it's a parody as religion. You're never sure who's in on a joke and who isn't, including them. If you ever wanted to join a cult but wanted plausible deniability, when your mom finds your membership card, Subgenius is your sanctuary. It's loud, it's anarchic, and it gives you permission to be weird on purpose. Join us, Brother Lightbeam. Slack awaits. Alright, look, if the Church of the Subgenius is the deist punk rock uncle of cults, then Discordianism is the anarchist cousin who dropped acid with Alan Watts and wrote a sacred text on a napkin while eating jello. Welcome to the religion that worships Eris, the Greek goddess of chaos, confusion, and good old-fashioned discord.
Great. So a religion built entirely on shitposting energy.
Yes. And you'd fit right in. This whole fate started with a test called the Principia Discordia, written by two pranksters named Malaclips the Younger and Lord Homar Khayyam Ravenhurst. Because obviously those are names you use when you were high and inventing a religion in the 1960s.
Macalith sounds like a Pokemon evolution that went off the rails.
It gets better. Their belief system is summed up as beliefs are all false, especially this one. You can worship Ares, the goddess of chaos, or not. You can follow the rules or burn them. You can do both at the same time. Congratulations, you're now a Discordian Pope. No initiation required.
Wait, everyone's a Pope.
Everyone. You can even print out a little card that says so. It's in the official text. I'm not making that up. They mass-mailed Pope cards in the 60s and claimed every man, woman, and child on earth is a genuine and authorized Pope.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I want one, but that's the first time I've ever wanted to be a pope and not out of spite.
You'd be a fantastic Pope of confused sarcasm. Anyway, Discordianism isn't just nonsense, it's philosophical nonsense. They parody organized religion, but also point out that the world is inherently chaotic, and pretending it's not is kind of the biggest joke of all. They coined the law of fives basically. All things happen in fives, or can be traced to fives, or hard divisible by fives, or it doesn't matter because the point is that humans find patterns where there are none. You get it?
No.
Exactly. Also, their calendar is 5 seasons long. Each has 73 days. Every Friday is a holiday, which frankly, iconic. Discordianism is a spiritual home for anyone who's ever looked at the universe, shrugged and gone, sure, let's throw glitter at it and see what happens. It's religion as absurdist performance art, but also kind of a very sneaky philosophical roast of human logic. If you like jokes that turn into existential crises and then back into jokes, this might be your church.
So it's like a cosmic version of that one friend who says everything's a simulation at 3 a.m. but also brought snacks.
Exactly. Now you're getting it, Pope Luke, just slightly confused. Okay, picture this: a spiritual movement built on worshipping electronic gadgets. Yes, gadgetology. A belief system where your toaster is holy, your blender is a minor deity, and your television is possibly God's.
This explains why I cry when my phone dies.
Right? You've already been initiated, my dude. Welcome to the fold. This cult was allegedly started sometime in the 80s or 90s. Origin stories are vague, like any good mythos, but they revere everyday appliances as manifestations of divine energy, like angels of the modern age. Microwaves, messengers of the unseen frequency. Vacuum cleaners, suck the sins from your carpeted soul.
Okay, but real talk, I have seen people whisper lovingly into their Roomba. Are we sure this is a joke?
Look, gadgetology blurs the line. Some say it began as performance art, others say it was straight-faced satire of both consumerism and new age technocults. Their central philosophy? All gadgets contain this divine spark. Worship them, maintain them, never let them fall below 10% battery.
So they're like monks, but instead of chanting, they update firmware.
Bingo. They had rituals where they'd bless toasters, recite mantras from user manuals, and old silent meditations while listening to dial up modems screech. There are even rumored gadgetology commandments like "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's Bluetooth speaker," "Honor thy USB and thy surge protector," "Thou shalt have no offline gods before me."
This is starting to feel like the sacred text of Reddit.
Exactly. And like many of these comedic cults, nobody knows how serious they took themselves. Was it parody? Was it spiritual satire? Was it a bunch of techies at a LAN party trying to summon the divine via dial-up? Yes, probably. If you ever had a deep emotional attachment to your old iPod, if you whispered, "Please don't crash," before a big Zoom call, if you still refer to your Alexa as she who must not be unplugged, then gadgetology might already live in your heart. Your hardwired, silicon coated, lithium powered heart.
So if I join this one, do I get baptized in printer ink or HDMI cables?
Only if your Wi Fi is pure. and your soul runs on USB-C. Look, prepare to bow your head, not in shame this time, but in reverence to a divine being made entirely of spaghetti and meatballs. Behold the flying spaghetti monster, all sauced and all seeing.
Oh, good. We're ending the first category by angering both religion and Olive Garden in one go.
This beautiful mess began in 2005 when a guy named Bobby Anderson, a physics grad, wrote a very spicy open letter to the Kansas State Board of Education. And why? Because they were pushing for intelligent design to be taught in schools alongside evolution. And Bobby said, sure, but if you're teaching that, then you also have to teach that the universe was created by a flying spaghetti monster. That's only fair.
So it started as sarcasm.
Oh, yes, but like all sarcasm, taken too far, it became real, and thus was born Pastafarianism, a satirical religion with all the trimmings, holy texts, sacred garb, colanders on your head, and heaven that features a beer volcano and stripper factory.
That honestly sounds better than most theological afterlives I've heard of.
Right? And they didn't just meme around, they took it to court multiple times. People have fought and sometimes won for the right to wear colanders in official ID photos, all in the name of religion freedom. And their main secret test? The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It outlines the hate I'd rather you didn't, because commandments are too aggressive. For example, I'd really rather you didn't build a multi-million-dollar churches, temples, mosques, shrines, when the money could be better spent on ending poverty, disease, illiteracy, etc.
This is like if a stand-up comedian rewrote the Bible over dinner at a cheap Italian restaurant.
That's exactly what this is. But it also makes a point. It's a sharp satire on how religion is often weaponized or used to control education and policy. Pastafarians use parody as protest. And the best part? They say the reason things like evolution seems real is because the flying spaghetti monster is intentionally manipulating the evidence to test our faith. You see, it's not that fossils exist. It's that he put them here to throw us off because he is saucy. Pastafarianism is hilarious, but also brilliant. It uses spaghetti to wage war on hypocrisy. That's kind of beautiful. If you ever long for spiritual meaning with a side of garlic bread, this is your home. Ramen.
So let me get this straight. First we had Slack, then Chaos, then Gadget Gods, and now Divine Carbs.
Yes, and that, my friend, is how you achieve a balanced metaphysical diet. All right, picture this. It's the late 1990s. You just moved to Garland, Texas, looking for peace, spirituality, and maybe a spaceship sent by God. Welcome to Shen Tao, which translates to True Way. It's a Taiwanese orange micro cult that somehow made it to Texas in the most bizarre relocation since Walker, Texas Ranger, got syndicated in Asia.
Texas seems like a weird place for cosmic enlightenment unless the aliens are driving trucks.
Hey, it gets weirder. Chen Tao's founder, Hong Mi Chen, was a former professor and deeply into UFOs, apocalyptic theology, and Buddhist Christian mashups. He thought that Earth had already been destroyed once by nuclear war in 1999, but most people didn't notice because we've all been unknowingly cloned by aliens. And God lives in the galaxy center and communicates via radio waves.
Okay, I'm calling it now. This guy watched Contact one time and never recovered.
And the climax? Chen predicted that on March 31st, 1998, God would appear on Channel 18, a public access TV station in North America, like literally on your TV screen. He said God would look like a human but glow and explain the universe to all of us.
Channel 18. Not even prime time. God's doing an infomercial?
Yes, God apparently booked the same airtime as the rerun of Cops. The cult built a compound, wore matching white jumpsuits, and prepped hard for God's big broadcast when the day came. Spoiler alert, God did not show up on Channel 18, unless it took the form of a Golden Girls rerun, in which case we've been spiritually satisfied for decades.
So what happened to the group?
Shockingly, no Kool-Aid, no mass strategy. They just kind of disbanded. Chen was like, oops, I miscalculated, and most members went home. No arrests, no violence, just the sad sound of static where God was supposed to be. The Chen Tao cult is a reminder that belief is powerful, but also sometimes entirely based on vibes and VHS tapes. It's a case study in UFO apocalypticism that thankfully didn't end in tragedy, just an awkward press conference and a lot of unused white jumpsuits.
Honestly, I'm kind of relieved. Like, if I had to pick a cult, I'd rather it ghost me than gaslight me.
Exactly. No saucy violence, just cosmic disappointment and a very confused TV guide. Look, what do you get when you cross a yoga instructor, a radio technician, a little post-war anxiety, and a direct line to Venus?
I don't know. A Flaming Lips album?
Close. You get the AITA Society, the world's most well-mannered, hyper-spiritual UFO cult, still active today, by the way. It was founded in 1955 by Dr. George King, a British cab driver turned yoga master who claimed he received telepathic message one day while doing dishes. A voice spoke to him and said, "Prepare yourself. You are to become the voice of the Interplanetary Parliament."
So God talked to Moses through a burning bush. George King got the call while scrubbing a frying pan.
Yep. And instead of going, "What the hell was that?" George meditated for 8 hours a day and got busy channeling messages from extraterrestrial beings, including the big boss, Master Aetherius. King claimed to be in contact with cosmic entities from Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and beyond. But these weren't green little guys. They were ascended masters, ancient spiritual beings who wore robes and beamed light out of their heads.
That's gotta be a terrible zoom angle.
Here's the Interior Society's starter pack. Aliens are advanced spiritual beings trying to help humanity evolve. Earth is in danger because we keep misusing technology and starting wars. Prayer is literal energy and can be stored in spiritual batteries and released during times of crisis, like natural disasters. The society uses spiritual energy radiators, metal devices that broadcast positive energy into the world, like prayer blasters. And yes, mountains around the world are holy because aliens landed there. Mount Shasta, Mount Fuji, blessed.
So it's like the Reiki meets the Weather Channel meets Star Trek.
Exactly. And they're so polite about it. There's no coercion, no sandals. They literally just gather, meditate, radiate positive energy, and talk about Mars. They have chapters in UK, US, New Zealand, Nigeria, and the branding is impeccable. It's all very 1950s optimism meets the X-Files. I love the Ethereal society. It's not about control or fear. It's about service, spirituality, and cosmic citizenship. Like if Mr. Rogers joined the Galactic Federation and just wanted you to recycle and raise your vibrations. Is it weird? Absolutely. But it's weird in a kind of vintage sci-fi paperback kind of way.
I can't tell if they're the most harmless cult we've covered or the secret puppet masters of Earth's magnetic fields.
Why not both? Just keep your chakras charged and your metal battery full. Alright, what if I told you that your feet hold the secrets to your soul? Your past life, your future trauma, and your credit card limit. Welcome to Onohana Sanpoigo, a Japanese cult from the 80s and 90s, also known as the Foot Reading Cult, led by a man with the self-declared title of the Jesus Christ of the modern era.
If this ends with someone licking a toe on Mount Fuji, I'm walking.
Close, but it ends with hundreds of lawsuits and a guy named Fukunaga Ogen getting arrested for fraud. Let's dive in. Foot first. Ogun Fukunaga, born in 1945, claimed he had revelation in a bathhouse, because of course he did, where he realized he was the reincarnation of both Jesus and Buddha. He soon started Onohana Sanpogyo, a spiritual movement that combined Buddhism, Christianity, fortune-telling, and raw power of foot reflexology.
This is the most unholy pedicure appointment I've ever heard of.
The cult's main belief? That you could diagnose physical illness, emotional trauma, spiritual misalignment, even your cause of death by reading the soles of your feet. They called it soul diagnosis, and it became a big business. How the grift worked. Here's the scam formula. 1. You'd attend a free seminar where a Onohana master would examine your feet. 2. The diagnosis? Actually dire. Cancer, ancestral curses, demonic parasites, you name it. 3. But don't worry, you could avoid tragedy if you paid 2.25 million yen, around 20,000 US dollars, for a spiritual cleansing retreat. Purchase blessed items like scrolls, candles, and of course toe alignment sandals, and continue to make monthly donations to appease your cosmic soul.
So they looked at your bunions and told you your grandma was haunting your spleen.
Basically. And people bought it. By the mid-1990s, Honohana had 30,000 members, a massive HQ at the base of Mount Fuji, and a PR machine that made Fukunaga seem like a modern messiah. It all crumbled in 2000 when thousands of people sued for fraud, saying they were emotionally manipulated and bankrupt by fake diagnoses. The Japanese government launched a full investigation. Fukunaga was convicted of massive fraud, fined over 1 billion yen, and sentenced to 12 years in prison.
Did he try to defend himself in court with an arch support?
Basically, he told the judge, I only said those things to help people, which is cold speak for I really thought the fit thing would work out. Is a perfect storm of charisma, pseudoscience, and culturally tailored manipulation. What makes it so wild is that foot reflexology is legit in some circles, but Fukunaga twisted it into a full-blown theological foot scam. It's funny on the surface, but the heartbreak underneath is real. This dude literally walked all over people. Still, It's hard not to marvel at the sheer audacity of founding a cult based on toe vibes.
If I ever get a foot massage again, I'm going to be watching for signs of spiritual debt.
Same. And if someone tries to upsell you a purification sandal, run. All right, buckle up. This one is a roller coaster that hits ancient Egypt. Extraterrestrials, black nationalism, and hands up somewhere in the twilight zone of fashion. Say hello to the Nubian nation, founded by the enigmatic Malaki Z. York in the 1970s.
Malaki who now? Sounds like the name of a guy who moonlights as a DJ at a cosmic nightclub.
Close. York started out as an educator and a musician, but quickly morphed into a cult leader with a complex belief system combining Black Hebrew Israelite theology, UFO lore, ancient Egyptian mysticism, and conspiracy theories. He claimed the original human were from the lost continent of Mu, and that African Americans are descendants of ancient Nubians and superior race connected to extraterrestrials.
Sounds like Marvel's next origin story.
And what did they believe? Malaki York blended esoteric teachings with heavy doses of New Age alien contact. He taught his followers about the Anunnaki, the ancient Sumerian gods who supposedly engineered humanity. The group believed in a coming apocalypse after which righteous Nubians would rule a new world. York also claimed he was a reincarnation of various religious figures, including Yahweh and Yeshua, or Jesus. Followers lived in a compound in Georgia, complete with Egyptian-style pyramids, statues, and costumes. Now let's get into the fashion statement. Imagine a mix of pharaoh cosplay, Rastafarian colors, and spacesuit aesthetics all rolled into one. York's followers often wore extravagant headdresses, robes, and accessories that looked like they came straight out of Star Wars' expanded universe.
So basically, if you crossed an ancient Egyptian pharaoh with a sci-fi convention, you get the Nawibian nation.
Exactly. And York himself took his to another level by building an entire theme park called Tamare in Georgia, which was part of sacred site, part cult headquarters, part surreal tourism trap. Of course, no cult story is complete without legal shenanigans. In 2004, Malaki York was convicted on charge of child molestation and racketeering, sentenced to 135 years in prison. His conviction sent shockwaves through the group and the cult world in general. The Nubian nation is a bizarre blend of mythology, identity politics, and sci-fi fantasy, layered with a heavy dose of personal charisma and showmanship from York. It's a cult that built a whole universe around itself, from beliefs to fashion to architecture. It's a fascinating wild ride that feels like a mashup of Indiana Jones, The X-Files, and Black Panther, with some dark shadows in the background.
Honestly, between the pyramids and the sci-fi gear, I half expected them to beam me up instead of locking me up.
Yeah, hopefully, if you pick a cult to join, it's one that's got killer costume budget. And that's our last of the micro cults. Ready to slide into our final category, the cults or performance art? Because trust me, the next one are going to be even weirder. Alright, ever heard of a cult that worships psychedelic drugs as a god? Welcome to the Temple of True Inner Light, founded in the 1960s in New York City by a guy named John Beresford. Everyone just calls him Papa.
So they worship acid tabs and peyote like holy relics.
Exactly. The core belief here is that certain hallucinogenics like LSD, peyote, and even marijuana are manifestations of the true divine spirit. They believe consuming these substances opens your third eye and connects you directly to God. The temple is an open-door spiritual community that welcomes seekers to experience true enlightenment through sacred drugs. They hold weekly services in Manhattan, often in a storefront or church basement. The music, chanting, and psychedelic art fills the space. Members believe the true inner light reveals itself through visions induced by these substances. There's no coercion, people come and go as they please, but the vibe is deeply communal and focused on personal spiritual growth through psychedelic experiences.
Sounds like Burning Man, but with more incense and less porta potties.
Right? And the group actually has ties to famous psychedelic musicians and artists. Members or visitors have included folk connected to the Grateful Dead scene and underground counterculture. Music isn't just background noise, it's a sacred ritual. The temple is known for its jazzy, psychedelic saxophone jams, sometimes played live during services to help guide spiritual journeys.
So I can show up, drop acid, and jam on a sax. This sounds way cooler than any office meeting I've been to.
Totally. It's very much about the experience, the music, and the personal connection to the divine via altered states. The temple of the true inner light is less about control or dogma and more about exploration and community through psychedelics. It's a cult in a loosest sense, more a spiritual collective with a 60s cosmic vibe that's still hanging on decades later. There's an authenticity to it that feels refreshing, even if it's not for everyone.
I'm not sure if I want to join or just crash their next jam session.
Why not both? Just bring earplugs and a sense of wonder, because we're about to go full celeb conspiracy territory. Jared Leto, the actor and frontman of 30 Seconds to Mars, has long been rumored to have cultivated a fan base so intense, some call it a cult. But is it just fandom or something deeper?
So is this like the Jonas Brothers, but with a lot more eyeliner and secret handshakes?
Ha! Something like that, but darker and more enigmatic. Fans known as the Eclon follow Leto with a cult-like devotion, dedicated to his music, his scripted messages, and his cryptic lifestyle. Fans have reported secret meetings, exclusive rituals, and intense social media campaigns orchestrated by the band. Jared Leto's artistic projects sometimes feature occult symbolism, cryptic puzzles, and themes of transformation and transcendence. Rumors swirl that some fans have been encouraged to sever ties with family or friends who don't get it. Conspiracy theories claims the band is connected to occult groups or secret societies, so nothing concrete has been proven.
Sounds like a VIP fan club, but with more tarot cards.
Exactly. And Leto's own penchant for method acting and enigmatic public appearances fuels the mystique. Remember his strange silence during the Morbius promo, or the masked and most ritualistic live shows. The big question is this just an incredibly immersive performance art piece, a marketing genius, or something genuinely cultish? Many experts lean towards it being a highly stylized, interactive fun experience, blending art and reality to blur the lines. But the devotion of some fans and some alleged emotional manipulation raises eyebrows. The Jared Leto cult rumors are a fascinating glimpse into how celebrity, art, and fandom collide in the internet age. Is it a cult? Maybe. Is it brilliant performance? Probably. Is it terrifying? Well, occasionally.
I'm just glad I'm not invited to the secret handshake meeting.
Don't worry, look, we'll save you a spot, or maybe not. Okay, before we send you off to pick your cult, let's settle the real debate. Are Taylor Swift fans, the Swifties, basically running their own cult?
Does that mean I've been unknowingly brainwashed by All Too Well?
Exactly. Think about it. They have secret codes, hello, Easter eggs in every music video and album. They hold mass gatherings, aka sold out stadium tours where thousands scream every lyric perfectly. There's an intense loyalty to their leader who has literally shaped an entire cultural moment. And they even have a dedicated language. Tail Taylorking, Swiftmas, the Swifties.
So, being a Swiftie is basically a cardio workout for your vocal cords and your heart.
Totally. And when you combine the emotional investment with the endless merchandise, the obsessive decoding of lyrics, and the feeling of being part of a global family, yeah, it looks cultish, but in the best way possible. Being a Swiftie isn't just fandom, it's a joyful collective experience that maybe edges on cult-level dedication. But hey, if you're going to be in a cult, might as well be in one with killer albums and catchy anthems.
Sign me up. Do they have initiation playlists?
Of course, starts with You Belong With Me and ends with Anti-Hero. You're welcome. And that's our fun little Swifty wrap. Now look, it's time for that final call choice. Which one do you pick? Listeners, weigh in. Are you Team Nuwabian, Temple of the True Inner Light, or ready to shake it off with the Swifties? Okay, folks, it's time. After exploring satire, saxophones, space aliens, and spaghetti deities, Luke must now choose his cold destiny. And this is the part where we either ascend or spiral into a Slack-induced chaos.
Alright, so let's recap. I could join the Temple of the True Inner Light and become a jazz-blasting acid priest, throw my lot in with the Flying Spaghetti Monster and become a proud pastafarian, go full Pharaoh with the Nubians and maybe get arrested for wearing a gold cape in public, get cryptic messages from Jared Leto and lose all concept of time, or join a church that worships a pipe-smoking cartoon salesman named Bob and promise internal slack.
Don't forget the option to just disappear into the Taylor Swift fandom and come back in a glittery haze of friendship, bracelets, and feelings.
Tempting, but after much soul searching, and by that I mean staring into a void of pipe smoke and conspiracy zines, I'm throwing my sacred underpants into the ring and joining the Church of the Subgenius.
Yes! That feels right. You were born for slack and blasphemous pamphlets. Do you even have a sacred beverage ready?
I'm sipping a lukewarm energy drink as we speak, which I believe qualifies as a subgenius sacrament.
You're in. May Bob grant you slack, a suspiciously high credit score, and exactly 3 unpaid parking tickets to boost your street cred.
Praise Bob. May his chin forever be square and his pipe forever lit.
All right, listeners, now it's your turn. Which cult are you joining? Drop your pick in the comments. Are you vibing with the intergalactic prophets, satirical saviors, or just trying to score free spaghetti?
And if any real cult recruiters are listening, this was all a joke. Please don't email us, unless you're Bob. You can always email.
If you want to support our weird little owl audio cult, you can join us on Patreon, follow us on socials, or toss a sacred digital coin into our PayPal temple of generosity.
Think of it as a tithing, but instead of salvation, you get bonus content and the occasional meme.
Links are in the show notes. Praise Bob, praise Spaghetti, and praise you for keeping this podcast alive.
Until next time, stay curious, stay ridiculous, and maybe stay out of actual cults.
Bye!
Bye.